All right, back in the garage, and it's winter, so I always get my winter projects going. It's cold and rainy out, and it's time to do something fun in the garage, right? So what better else to do than build up a new dirt bike ready for the spring, right? So brand new 2025 Yamaha YZ250FX, and this is a great bike as is, so there's not a lot I really have to do with this motorcycle, but I got some cool mods, so I'm going to take you through what I'm doing to it. I'm going to go through each mod and just kind of tell you why. Some of you might disagree with me completely, but these are just things that I like to do to every dirt bike mostly. And like I said, this bike, you know, every review I've seen on it, this thing has just been stellar reviews, right? So really not much to do to this motorcycle, but I got some really good mods that I think are going to be good for it. So stick around, have a look at this video, and hopefully you like it. Okay, another modification I'm going to do to my 2025 YZ250FX is I'm going to put on an FMF 4.1 slip-on. And before I do that, before I get on the bike, I just wanted to show you guys the difference between the stock and the FMF. It's quite a drastic difference just in the size of these things. The stocker is massive. Now where I ride, I'm required to have a spark arrestor. So the FMF comes standard with a spark arrestor installed. I'm just going to leave it in there. Apparently the standard muffler has some kind of a baffle in it. I think it's mostly for noise. But I need a spark arrestor, so FMF comes with that. It's way smaller. I haven't actually weighed them, but the FMF exhaust is certainly lighter. I wouldn't say it's drastically lighter. It's probably about a pound lighter. And so maybe I'll get some performance gains out of it. I have a spark arrestor. It's a little bit lighter. Definitely looks better. And again, I just wanted to kind of show you guys the difference between these two exhausts before I put them on. Pretty big difference. So I think it's worth it. Let's get this installed on the bike and have a look at the complete install of the FMF 4.1. This is the stainless steel version on the YZ250FX. FMF 4.1 slip-on installed. There you go. It's looking good. Now, the stock exhaust system has that little guard on it, and it doesn't fit on this exhaust. So when you put the slip-on on, so I just removed it completely. Not too worried about that. Most aftermarket exhausts that you buy these days don't have any protection there anyway. The fit is really tight, and yeah, I think it's really good. It's a good fit and finish. Bolted right up, super easy to install. Took all of, I don't know, 10 minutes to install it. Like I said, now I've got a spark arrestor, so I'm legal to ride in the areas that I ride. Should sound really good. Like I said, it's about a pound lighter, definitely more compact than the stock muffler. So I think there's a lot of benefits here. And yeah, I'm happy with it. So more to do on this bike. I'm going to keep moving along and hope you guys are enjoying this build. All right, another piece I'm going to replace on my YZ250FX. This is the stock skid plate, big piece of plastic. Really good protection, no doubt about that. I'm going to replace it with this Works Connection skid plate. And why would I do this? I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of protection here. The reason I like this skid plate is I don't have to take it off to change the oil. I've got an opening here to do that. Where here, if I'm changing the oil on the bike, I got to drop the whole skid plate to do that, to get to the bolt, the drain bolt to do that, right? So super easy. But then you're going to say, well, if you put this on there, you lose all your water pump protection on this side over here. So I went and bought a stock. This is just a YZ250F guard. And because this is the YZ250F frame on the FX, there's a bolt and a bolt hole that this just mounts straight onto it. So I've got the protection for the water pump and all the other protection from the skid plate. So it really should do as good of a job. I mean, at the end of the day, I ride out in the desert where it's dry, and you know, this is just fine for me. So I think it's a good modification just because it makes maintenance easier. But at the end of the day, this one's just fine. I think this is just better for me. So let's get this thing on and see what it looks like. All right, let's have a look at the Works Connection skid plate install on the 2025 YZ250FX. So that's the stock skid plate. Like I said, great protection there. It's just that every time you have to get back here to change the oil, you have to take that skid plate off. So with the Works Connection skid plate, it's got an opening here, so the drain bolt's straight up there. Looks good. Everything's looking good under there. Fits really good. Easy to install. Here is the stock YZ250 guard, YZ250F guard. $18 when you buy the bolt and you buy the little guard, and there's already a place on the frame for it because that's the 250F frame. There's the skid plate again. I think it's worth, I think it's a good mod. I just left the 2 bolts on here from the stock skid plate. And seems like that'll be enough protection for the water pump. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it's a good mod. Like I said, I'll never have to take that skid plate off. Just get under there, change the oil, not have to drop the skid plate. It's not a big deal to drop that off. I mean, it's 3 bolts, no big deal. But I like this setup better. And that's just on there for good. Good protection. I think that's a good mod. So we got a few more things we're doing to this 250FX. So let's move on and keep going and have some more fun. All right, here we go. This is probably something that you guys might care about, you might not. I always run Scott's Performance stainless steel filters in all my 4-strokes. And you know, maybe it's not a big deal. I've always done it. I've always used Scott's. There's a lot of other brands out there that are like half the price. And I think some of them are even like a third of the price. But I always run the Scott's filter. And you know, there's some of the listed benefits there. I don't know if you can see those or not, but you know, I like having them in there. For me, it's a little bit more assurance that I'm going to have a good oil flow. I think the filtration's just fine. I really like these filters, so I'm going to get this one in there. I'm going to top it off with this Works Connection oil filter cover. Again, cosmetic thing, but just something I felt like doing in this particular build, so that's what I'm going to do. But again, Scott's Performance filter. Super impressed with the build on this filter. It's really an impressive build quality. Again, comparing it to the stock oil filter, the paper filter. I'm going to take this little O-ring off of here, put it on here on the Works Connection one. That's all I got to do. Put it all back together, and we're done. So again, another mod. I like these filters, and I'm going to stick with it. All right, oil filter installed, the new Works Connection cover. Put some blue radiator hoses on there too. Again, it's not gonna create any performance improvements or anything, but I just like the way they look. Just kind of adds to the whole thing, right? So anyway, Scott's stainless steel oil filter installed with a Works Connection oil filter cover. The Moto hoses look cool. And as I started saying at the beginning of the video, there's not a lot I'm going to do to this bike. FMF exhaust, happy with the way that fit, the way that turned out. The Moto hoses, not a big deal there. I actually have a twin air filter installed. That's just my go-to filter. I'm going to start using the Maxxis Pro filters, the disposables. I'm going to start running those in there. I'm just going to get a couple. They're super cheap, so I think they're worth putting in there and running. So I'm going to experiment with those a little bit, but there you go. Scott's Performance stainless steel oil filter installed. The bike's almost done. It's coming together nicely. I'm going to finish this off. I have one more modification to do, which I'll show you when we're done. Then we're going to take it out as soon as we get some good weather. It's rainy and cold out, but as soon as we get some good weather, we're going to get this bike out there, start it up, make sure it all runs, make sure there's no leaks. And then we're going to be ready for spring riding. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get on this bike. All right, it's done. Looks like really good. I'm really happy with it. The last part of the build, really simple. I love running these Sunstar rear sprockets. This is a Works Triple Star black anodized rear sprocket. And I always run these DID chains. And the reason why is because they just don't really stretch at all. They just last a long time and they hold up well. And so that's it. DID chain and the Sunstar Works Triple Star rear sprocket. And the build's done. I've got it on the battery charger. So again, as soon as I get a good day, I'm going to get it out, start it up, and make sure it's all good. And then I'll be ready for the spring ride. What do you guys think of this build? Again, super, super simple, like nothing major. Already a great bike. I just made it a little bit better, personalized it a little bit to me and what I like on a bike. And it's ready to go. So I'm sure it's going to start up and run good and sound great. And yeah, so that's it. So let's get it out in the good weather when it gets here and make sure it's running good. Then after that, we're going to get some good spring riding in. I'll get some good video out riding in the desert. And yeah, 250FX to be started up. Well, that's it. Build's done. Looks good to me. Happy with it. What do you guys think? I'm wrapping up the video. And it's ready for a spring ride. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.